The notification lit up my phone like any other, but the live video showed my son pounding on a locked car door outside a candlelit restaurant, and I stayed quiet while something inside me cracked. I did not call, I did not text. I just watched the seconds crawl, and one question kept stabbing the same spot in my chest. Why would my own mother do this to my child? My name is Juniper. I am 34, and I manage a scheduling team for a medical transport company, which means I live by timestamps and calm voices even when everything is on fire. That night, I walked into my apartment with my work badge still on, the lanyard twisting between my fingers like a rope. Micah was sitting at the kitchen table, too still for an 8-year-old. He had his backpack on, both straps, like he was ready to run again. "Hey, baby," I said, soft. He looked up, and his eyes were shiny in that careful way kids get when they are trying not to make an adult angry. "Mom says I got you in trouble." My stomach went cold. I knelt beside him and brushed his hair back. "No, you did nothing wrong." He swallowed, then whispered, "Grandma said I was embarrassing. She said my shoes were dirty, and Aunt Sloan was taking pictures for her page." I did not ask about the restaurant yet. I did not want to lead him. I wanted the truth in his own words, the way my dispatcher brain wanted clear details instead of panic. "Where were you when she said that, Micah?" He glanced at the hallway like Grandma might still be there. "In the car. She told me to stay, and I did. I watched cartoons on the tablet until it died. Then I tried counting cars. The windows got foggy. I got sleepy. I thought maybe I did something bad." I pressed my palm to my mouth because if I spoke fast, I would scare him. If I cried, he would feel responsible. So I did what I always do at work when a driver misses a pickup and families start yelling. I lowered my voice and slowed everything down. "How long were you alone?" He shrugged, small, "A lot. My hands were cold. I put them under my legs. I wanted to pee, but I did not want to open the door." My phone buzzed again. Another clip from the doorbell cam at the restaurant. My mother, smiling, adjusting her scarf, checking her lipstick in the reflection of the SUV window. Then she leaned down to the crack of the door and said something I could not hear, and Micah's little fist smacked the glass again, desperate. I kept my face neutral. Inside, I was taking notes. I made him hot cocoa. Not fancy, just the kind with too many marshmallows. I wrapped him in the soft blanket he always steals from my bed, and I put on his favorite show. Then I asked one more question, like it was nothing. "Did Grandpa go check on you?" Micah shook his head. He came once, but only to tell me to stop making that face because people might see. He said if I behaved, I could have dessert. But then they forgot. Forgot, like my child was a coat they left on a chair. When Micah finally relaxed enough to laugh at the TV, I opened my laptop. I did not rage text. I did not post. I did not tell my friends. I pulled up the car app, the one linked to the SUV my parents drive because I pay the insurance, because I pay a lot of things, because it has always been easier than listening to them guilt me about how hard life is. The engine log showed start then stop. No restart. Location pinned to that same downtown block. Then I opened my mother's social media. The newest photo was a bright table of food, wine glasses, her hand posed near a candle, and my sister Sloane's caption underneath. "Family dinner, no chaos, just peace." No chaos, meaning my son. I stared at that sentence until my eyes burned. Then I took screenshots, and I labeled them by date and time, the way I label route changes at work so no one can argue later. Micah fell asleep with cocoa on his lip. I carried him to bed. He curled into me, warm and trusting, and the anger in my throat turned into something colder, something clean. The next morning, my mom called like nothing happened. "Good morning, honey," she sang. "You should have seen the place we went. Very classy, we had to keep standards." I looked out my kitchen window at the quiet parking lot below. My voice came out steady. "Where was Micah while you were keeping standards?" A pause, a small one, but I heard it. That pause was the sound of someone searching for the version that makes them look innocent. "In the car," she said, breezy. "He was being difficult. He refused the sweater I bought him. He was fidgeting, and Sloane's husband has clients there. We could not have him ruining the night. Ruining the night. I let a beat of silence sit on the line, long enough for her to get uncomfortable. Then I said, okay. She exhaled, relieved. That one word always works on people like her. They hear it as surrender. They do not realize it is a door closing quietly. We will do dinner again soon, she added. If he apologizes. Okay, I repeated. After I hung up, I did not throw anything. I did not slam cabinets. I packed Micah's lunch, cut grapes in half, and kissed his forehead. Then, after I dropped him at school, I drove straight to my parents' house. I paid for that house, not as a gift, as a safety net they kept cutting holes into. I stood on the porch, listened to my own breathing, and rang the smart doorbell I installed. The camera caught my face, calm, composed. My father opened the door with his coffee in hand, like I was a coworker showing up late to a meeting. Morning, Juniper, he said. What brings you here so early? I stepped inside. I did not look at the family photos. I did not look at the new rug I bought them last month. I looked at my father. Micah sat in a locked car for hours, I said. My mother appeared in the hallway, already wearing the expression she uses in public. Soft eyes, trembling mouth. A woman who does not understand why everyone is so mean to her. Oh, Junie, she began. Please do not be dramatic, he was fine. I kept my hands by my sides so they could not accuse me of being aggressive. I spoke like I speak to drivers when I have to correct them without giving them a reason to quit. I checked the logs, the engine was off, the temperature dropped. He was alone. He thought he was being punished for existing. My father set his coffee down a little too hard. Kids need discipline. You let him run your life. My mother rushed in too fast. We were teaching him manners. We could see the car. Then why did he tell me the tablet died and he got sleepy and wanted to pee? I asked, still calm, still quiet, and why did you forget him? My mother's face tightened. She did not like that word. We did not forget, she snapped. We were enjoying one night. One. Sloane works hard, she deserves nice things, and you always make everything about Micah. There it was, the truth, not hidden, not even dressed up. I nodded once, like I had just confirmed a delivery address. You have until next Sunday at noon to move out, I said. My father laughed, a sharp little sound. You cannot evict your parents. I looked him in the eye. I can, because my name is on the deed, and you signed the occupancy agreement when you moved in. The one you told me not to be so formal about. My mother's tears arrived right on schedule. Juniper, where would we go? You should ask Sloane, I said. She had peace last night. Let her host it. My father's face turned red. We raised you. And I am raising Micah, I said, so I am going to do better. I walked out, not fast, not shaking. I did not give them a scene to tell the family, I just left. On the drive to work, my phone began to light up. My sister, my aunt, a cousin I barely speak to. I did not answer any of them. I forwarded my mother's voicemail straight into an email folder labeled evidence. At lunch, Sloane finally reached me from an unknown number. What is wrong with you, she said. Mom is sobbing. Dad says you threatened them. I kept eating my sandwich. I kept my tone even. Did you know Micah was in the car? A pause, then a lie wrapped in sugar. I thought he was with a friend. I pulled up the photo of her candlelit dinner, and the caption, no chaos, just peace. I imagined her typing it while my son fogged up a window with his breath. I said, quietly, your peace was my child shivering. Sloane scoffed. You are overreacting. He is dramatic just like you. I swallowed once, slow. Then I dropped the calmest line I have ever said in my life. If you believe that, then you will not mind me sending the doorbell footage to the school counselor, the way I am required to do when a child reports being left alone in a vehicle. Silence, thick, sudden silence. Quick real-life pause when I am editing late at night, I get tired, and your comments are what keep me going. Like, subscribe and tell me your city, state, or country. All right, now let me take you back. Because the part that made my stomach truly drop did not happen at the restaurant. It happened 3 months earlier, when my mother asked me to sign a single page of paperwork, just one page. She said, for insurance updates, and I signed it while Micah tugged my sleeve and asked for help with his spelling words. That afternoon, after Sloane's call, I opened my cloud storage and searched the scanned documents. And there it was. A form with my signature, and language that did not say insurance at all. It said power of attorney. My fingers went numb on the mouse, as I realized they were not just punishing my son. They were preparing to take everything I had. I sat there so still my coffee went cold, staring at my own signature like it belonged to a stranger. My name, my looped little J, the date, the line that mattered most, the one that said they could act for me, speak for me, move money for me, make decisions in my place. My mother had smiled while she handed me that page. She had said, just for the policy, just in case. I opened the file again and zoomed in until the letters turned jagged. It was real. It was not a mistake. It was a plan. My first instinct was to call her and scream, but my hands did not move. I heard my own voice in my head, the one I use at work when someone is lying to my face, and I need them confident enough to keep talking. Say less, document more. So I did something that felt almost wrong in its calmness. I printed the form. I slid it into a folder. Then I opened my phone and scrolled back to every message my mother had sent me in the last year. Every time she hinted about my savings. Every time she asked about my retirement account. Every time she said, if something happened to you, I would not even know how to help. Help, that was her favorite word when she meant control. My chest started hurting in a slow, steady way. Not panic, not heartbreak. But the ache of realizing your kindness has been used as a tool against you for so long that you forgot it could be taken back. I called an attorney I knew through work. A woman named Colette who once got a predatory tow company shut down with nothing but paperwork and patience. She answered on the second ring. Juniper, what is it? I did not over-explain. I did not dramatize. I just told her the facts, the way I would report an incident. My parents left my son locked in a car. I told them to move out. Today I found a power of attorney with my signature that I did not understand when I signed it. Colette went quiet for a moment, and when she spoke again, her voice had changed. Not scared, focused. Do you have the original? I have a scan. Good, do not alert them. If they know you found it, they will move fast. First, we revoke it. Immediately. Then we lock down your accounts. Then we figure out whether they already used it. The last sentence hit me like ice water. Already used it. I pictured my mother at my bank, blinking those innocent eyes, saying her daughter was stressed. Her daughter wanted help. Her daughter trusted her. I grabbed my keys and walked out of my office without telling anyone why. In the parking lot, my hands shook so badly I dropped my key fob. I picked it up, forced air into my lungs, and whispered my son's name like a prayer. Micah. Then I drove to my bank. The lobby smelled like lemon cleaner and quiet money. I stood at the counter and asked for the branch manager, and when a man named Harrison stepped out, he smiled like we were friends. Juniper, how can I help? I put the folder on his desk and slid it across. I need you to check my file for any power of attorney on record. And I need you to tell me if anyone besides me has accessed my accounts in the last 6 months. He opened the folder, scanned the page, and his eyebrows lifted just slightly. He turned his monitor so I could see the screen. There is a document on file, he said carefully. It was uploaded recently. Recently. My throat went dry. I did not ask who uploaded it yet because my brain was trying to hold on to one tiny hope. Maybe my mother had not submitted it. Maybe she only had it ready, like a weapon she liked knowing she owned. Harrison clicked again, eyes flicking across the screen. Someone called last week, he said. They asked about transferring a portion of your savings into a different account for safekeeping. My heart started beating too hard. Who? He hesitated. He was trained not to accuse. He chose his words like stepping stones. The caller identified herself as your agent under this document. My vision tunneled, my mother in my accounts. in my life, in my future. Did you do it? I asked. No, he said quickly. We did not proceed because the voice verification failed. We flagged the account for in-person verification only. I was going to call you, but the contact number listed had been changed. Changed. I stared at him. A cold wave moved through my body, so sharp it almost made me dizzy. My mother had not only tried to move my money. She had tried to make sure I would not get the warning. What number is listed? I asked. He read it out. It was not mine. It was Sloane's. For a moment, the world went quiet in that strange way it does right before you accept something you never wanted to believe. It was not just my mother. It was my sister, too. The dinner photo. The caption about peace. The lie on the phone. It all clicked together like teeth in a trap. I thanked Harrison with a calm that felt unnatural even to me. I signed the forms to revoke the document. I set new passphrases. I changed every contact method back to mine. I asked for alerts on every transaction, even the tiny ones. When he offered to walk me out, I shook my head. I did not want comfort. I wanted control. In my car, I sat with both hands on the steering wheel and let the anger settle into something usable. I imagined my mother and sister congratulating themselves, telling each other I would never notice, because I was too busy being responsible. They had mistaken responsibility for weakness. I called Colette back and told her everything. She did not gasp. She did not pity me. She sounded almost satisfied. Good, she said. Now we have a trail. Do you want to go nuclear or quiet? Quiet, I said. Then we set a clean trap, she replied. Legal, documented, and you let them hang themselves. That night after I picked Micah up from school, I cooked dinner like everything was normal. Pasta, the kind he loves. I asked about spelling. I listened to him describe a science project with bright, excited hands. I smiled when he smiled, and I hated my mother even more for teaching him to fear grown-ups. When Micah went to bed, I opened my laptop again and created a new email address that looked official enough to scare someone greedy. I attached the bank revocation notice, but I did not send it to my mother. I sent it to my sister. Subject line, urgent, account verification required. My message was simple. The bank attempted to verify power of attorney. There are compliance concerns. Please confirm identity and provide a statement from the agent. I knew Sloane would not be able to resist. She would want to fix it before Mom panicked. She would want to keep the plan alive. She would respond. And she did, less than an hour later. She wrote, I am listed only for emergencies. My mother is the agent. Please do not contact Juniper. She is unstable right now. Unstable. I read that word 3 times. Then I forwarded it to Colette. Colette sent back one line, keep going. The next morning, I made one call. Not to my mother, not to Sloane, to Micah's school counselor. I did not accuse. I did not rant. I simply requested a meeting to discuss a safety concern involving my parents. I scheduled it for the end of the week, the day before my parents' deadline to move out. Then I drove past my parents' house again. The curtains were open. My mother's car was in the driveway, and on the porch, taped right to the front door like a threat, was a bright printed notice. Do not trespass. Occupant has rights. My father had put it up for the neighbors to see. My stomach twisted, but I did not stop the car. I kept driving, and as I turned the corner, my phone buzzed. A text from my mother. I heard you went to the bank. You are making this so much worse. Come over tonight. We need to talk like a family. I stared at the message for a long moment, then typed one word. Okay. And as I set my phone down, another notification popped up, this one from my doorbell camera at my apartment. Motion detected at the front door. The timestamp showed my mother standing there, holding a folder, smiling at my lock like she knew the code. I did not rush home. I did not call her. I just opened the live view and watched her stand there, perfectly composed, like a woman waiting for her haircut appointment. She glanced down the hall, then lifted her hand and tried the handle anyway, like the rules of other people's homes had never applied to her. Micah was still at school. Thank God. My stomach churned with the image of him walking in and seeing her there, smiling, pretending this was normal. My phone buzzed again. A second alert, motion detected at the back door. My mother had walked around the building. I pulled into a grocery store parking lot and sat, breathing through my nose, slow, quiet. If I went loud, she would become a victim. If I stayed calm, she would reveal herself. I called my property manager, a friend named Harper who handled multiple units in my complex. Harper, I said, my voice steady, I need you to meet my mother at my door. She is trespassing. Tell her she is not allowed in, and record the interaction. Harper did not ask why. She only said on it. Then I called Colette. She is at my apartment, I said. Colette exhaled once. Good, let her do it. Let her be seen. Do not engage directly. And Juniper, take a screenshot of the camera with the timestamp. I did, I saved it. I backed it up twice. My hands were cold, but my mind was sharp like a blade. 2 minutes later, the camera feed showed Harper walking up the stairs with her phone out. My mother turned toward her and immediately switched faces, the sweet, worried mother, the one people love. Oh, honey, my daughter is unwell, my mother said, her hands fluttering. I am just trying to help her. She is confused lately. She does not know what she is doing. Harper's voice came through the mic, crisp. Mrs. Calla, Juniper asked me to inform you that you are not permitted here. If you do not leave, I will call the police. My mother's smile tightened. Calla was not her name. Harper was doing it on purpose, refusing familiarity, refusing manipulation. My mother's tone turned sharp. I am her mother. You cannot talk to me like that. I have legal authority. Harper did not move. Do you have a court order or written permission from Juniper? Because I do not see either. My mother lifted the folder like a shield. I have paperwork. Harper's voice stayed polite. You can give that paperwork to Juniper's attorney. If you remain here, I will contact law enforcement. My mother's cheeks went pink. She leaned closer to Harper, and even through the camera I could see the anger in her eyes. You people do not understand family. She is going to regret this. She needs guidance. She needs someone to manage her. Manage, the word made my throat tighten. Harper stepped back and pulled out her phone. I am calling now. My mother froze. Then she did what she always did when consequences showed up. She smiled again, too fast. No need for that, she said, and turned to leave, but not before she leaned toward my camera and waved. She wanted me to see her. She wanted me to feel watched. I stared at the screen and whispered, You just gave me exactly what I needed. That evening, I picked Micah up from school and kept my voice light. We grabbed pizza, extra pepperoni, and I let him choose a dessert. He laughed in the back seat, talking with his hands, and for a moment I felt the old grief, the one that says, Why can't my family be normal? Then I remembered my mother at my door, calling me unstable. At home, after Micah showered and curled up with his book, I sat at my kitchen table and laid everything out like a timeline. Restaurant footage, engine logs, my sister's email calling me unstable and asking the bank not to contact me, my mother trespassing, the power of attorney scan, the bank manager's notes about the changed phone number. It was not chaos, it was a pattern. The next day was Friday, the day of my meeting with the school counselor. I wore a plain blouse, hair pulled back, minimal makeup. Not because I needed to look perfect, but because I refused to give anyone a reason to doubt me. The counselor, a kind woman named Noel, greeted me with a soft smile. We sat in a small office that smelled like pencils and hand sanitizer. I told her what happened without exaggeration. I showed her the footage of Micah hitting the window. I showed her the engine log. I showed her Micah's note from that night, the one he had written in shaky spelling after I asked him to draw what he felt. He had drawn a small stick figure in a big box, and above it he had written, I was cold. Noel's eyes filled. She took a breath and said, I am required to document this. I nodded. That is why I am here. She asked if my parents had unsupervised access to Micah. I told her no, not anymore. She asked if they were expected to pick him up again. I told her absolutely not. She asked if Micah felt safe with them. I did not answer for him. I said, please ask him directly. Micah came in for a short conversation. He sat on the little chair, swinging his legs, and when Noel asked about Grandma and Grandpa, he looked down and whispered, Grandma says I make her tired. Noel's face changed, not angry, determined. After Micah left, she handed me a printed summary and said, if they attempt contact at school, we will follow protocol. And Juniper, if you need a protective order, this documentation will help. I thanked her and walked out feeling both sick and strangely relieved. The truth was no longer trapped inside my home. It was on paper, official, real. Saturday morning arrived, the day before my parents' deadline to move out. I drove to their house with a calm that felt like it belonged to someone else. Colette's assistant was waiting nearby with a process server, just in case. I had also hired a locksmith for Sunday. Quiet preparations, quiet power. When I pulled up, my mother was already on the porch as if she had been waiting all night. My father stood behind her, arms crossed, the trespass sign still taped to the door like a childish dare. My mother stepped forward first. Juniper, she said, voice trembling, we are your parents. You cannot do this. People will talk. I looked at her and realized something that made my chest ache. She did not say, I am sorry. She did not say, Micah matters. She said, people will talk. I kept my voice even. You should have thought about people talking when you left my child alone in a locked car. My father scoffed. He was fine. I nodded slowly, like I agreed. Then I reached into my bag and pulled out a single sheet of paper, not the bank form, not the eviction notice. It was the school's documentation summary, stamped and dated. I held it up so they could see the header, Child Safety Report. My mother's eyes widened. What is that? Just proof, I said, the kind you can't cry your way out of. My father's face went pale. You reported us. I tilted my head. I did not report you. I told the truth to the right person. My mother made a sound like she had been hit. You are trying to ruin us. No, I said. You did that the moment you chose aesthetics over my son's lungs. My sister's car pulled up behind me, tires crunching on gravel. Sloane stepped out in a fitted coat, sunglasses on, like she was arriving at a brunch. She ripped the sunglasses off when she saw the paper in my hand. What did you do? I looked at her and smiled, small and calm. I forwarded your email to my attorney. The one where you asked the bank not to contact me because I am unstable. Sloane's mouth opened, then closed, then opened again, searching for a defense. My mother lunged toward me, whispering fiercely, that power of attorney was for emergencies. You always twist things. I nodded again, okay. That single word made her flinch, because she knew what it meant now. I turned toward my father. You have until tomorrow at noon. If you are still inside, the sheriff will remove you, and this report will be attached to every request you make for sympathy. My father's jaw shook with rage. You think you're so smart. I did not raise my voice. I think Micah deserves a mother who chooses him, even when it costs her comfort. Sloane stepped forward, face tight. Fine. You want to play legal games? I hope you know Mom has your spare keys. She can get into your apartment anytime. I stared at her for a long moment, then let my smile widen just enough to make her uneasy. She tried, I said. The camera caught it. The property manager recorded it, and the building already has the police report number ready if she comes back. My mother stumbled back like the porch had shifted under her feet. You would call the police on me. I breathed in, slow, and the answer came out like a closing door. I already did. Sunday at noon, I arrived with the locksmith and a deputy. My parents' car was gone. The house was empty except for the furniture I had bought. They had taken their clothes, their framed photos, their pride. They left behind the leftover bills on the counter like a final insult. I changed every lock. I reset every code. I canceled the spare keys. Then I walked through the rooms and felt something I had not felt in years. Silence. Not the tense silence of walking on eggshells. The safe silence of a home, that belongs to the people who live in it. That night, Micah and I ate pizza on the living room floor. He wore his favorite hoodie and his scuffed sneakers, sauce on his chin, joy in his eyes. "Mom," he said softly, "do we have to see Grandma again?" I looked at my son, this small human who had learned too early how to make himself smaller for adults who did not deserve him. "No, baby," I said. "We do not have to beg for a seat at any table ever again." And I meant it, because the final twist was already in motion. The next morning, my bank called to confirm one more thing. The attempted voice verification from last week had been recorded, and the number that tried to authorize the transfer belonged to Sloane's husband, not my mother. So the woman who called me unstable was not just helping my mother steal from me. She was using my own family to empty my son's future. And as I deleted their numbers one by one, my hands steady, my heart clear, I realized the quietest revenge is simply this. They tried to manage me, but I managed to erase them.